As far as PlayStation 4 exclusives go, Horizon Zero Dawn is an exceptional video game. And why do I think this? The opening cutscene poses many questions straight off the bat. As far as looking stunning running on my PlayStation 4 Pro, Horizon Zero Dawn's first opening cutscene poses many questions that you want answering straight away, which alludes to a lot of mystery in the first 5 minutes. Who is this bearded looking awesome guy? Who is this baby? Why are there robot dinosaurs? Who's building the robot dinosaurs? Why are they building robot dinosaurs? I have to say, myself, I was hooked. I wanted to start the game and find out all these questions for myself and start my own adventure. And don't worry, I won't spoil any of that stuff for you. You can go and pick up the game and play for yourself, because half of this game is the mystery. Like, the story eludes itself every now and then. It gives you a little piece of the story, pieces at a time, to keep you motivated and keep you always striving on to find out what the next part of the story is going to be. And I personally love when games are written like that. It's not just like, here's the story, this is what you're doing, go to B, go to A to B, kill that thing right there, and have a great time. Horizon Zero Dawn is set in the far distant future of Earth, no longer ruled by humans, but instead ruled by huge mechanical, I'm going to call them dinosaurs going forward. I know they're not technically dinosaurs, but they act like dinosaurs and behave like dinosaurs, so they're robot dinosaurs. And the first part of the game puts you in the shoes of Aloy, the main character of this game. She's a part of a tribe that doesn't see her as one of their own, so she's kind of an outcast in the beginning, which makes you even more alluring to these questions. Why is she an outcast? Why does nobody like me? Who are we worshipping? Are we worshipping Satan or the Easter Bunny? I'm not quite sure. Anyway, in the first half an hour or so of the game, she stumbles into a cave, or what seems like a cave at first, but really when she dives deeper into this area and explores around, she discovers a relic, that of which being a old human settlement, hundreds or maybe even thousands of years old. And Aloy, being a child, she's learning at the same time as you. This is just as new to her as it is to the character, the person playing. In the cave, she finds a thing called a focus, which is a piece of technology that straps to her head that allows Aloy to see holograms and light trails and allows her to interact with things that the humans used to use thousands of years ago. Holograms of the people that lived thousands of years ago, and also you can pick up on loads of voice files of people who lived around this time, and they're all so gut-wrenchingly horrible. They're so sad because something clearly happened to make the humans not around anymore so much. So something happened in the voice files. You'll have to listen to them for yourself, but they're genuinely heartbreaking. I also want to take a minute to talk about how stunning Horizon Zero Dawn looks. Guerrilla have made a wonderful, open, rich, vibrant open world here for you to explore in, and every single detail, down from the skeleton, the design of these robot dinosaurs, even to the way the wind moves through the leaves, is so breathtakingly beautiful. Everything about this game screams probably the best looking game I've ever played. And there you go, I've said it. I've said it, everybody. I've said it. Horizon Zero Dawn may be the most beautiful game I've ever played on any console ever. It doesn't really matter that this is playing on PS4 Pro. It's beautiful and it is lovely. Accompanying the stunning visuals is an even more jaw-dropping, awe-inspiring soundtrack. This game's soundtrack is actually really reminds me of the soundtrack from Metal Gear Solid 2. It's very quiet when it needs to be, then all of a sudden when something goes wrong or you're in a battle, it becomes very technological and very synthy and very almost industrial. So the visuals coupled with the music just makes for an all really enjoyable experience, and then you have all this mystery in the background. And Aloy is such a well-written character. There's a training montage right at the beginning of the game of her just trying to be the very best that no one ever was. See what I did there? That was a Pokemon reference in case anyone missed that. And that is the basic setup of the game. You have this mystery, you have this beautiful soundtrack going on in the background, beautiful visuals to look at, a character which you actually like and want to know, get more about, a story of mystery, dinosaurs, where do they come from, tribe, why don't they like me, where do the humans go? And then we get onto the gameplay, which actually, if comparable to anything I've played in recent times, especially on the PlayStation 4, is very, very similar to Tomb Raider. You know, not the new one, the new one, Rise of Tomb Raider, or the definitive edition, not the old one so much. Which, in my opinion, is not a complaint on any level whatsoever, because Tomb Raider is actually one of my favorite games, especially the definitive edition that came out a few years ago. Is one of my favorite games of all time. It feels very similar to that. It's very fluid, it's very fast, but it's also slow and stealthy and paceful when it needs to be. Especially having the same sort of weapons as Lara Croft uses. Aloy uses predominantly a bow and arrow to deal most of her damage out to enemies. And Aloy as a character is actually really cool to control. She feels very weighty. All of her jumps and rolls and feel actually meaningful. They actually feel like you're getting some sort of feedback from Aloy. Which again is another sort of reference to Lara Croft in the Tomb Raider series, because there is some sort of, I wouldn't go as far as saying parkour, but there is definitely some platforming elements to Horizon Zero Dawn. There are zip wires you can slide down, walls that needed climbing up, and obviously the dude that paints the ledges has come back, but he's not using the white paint, he's using yellow paint and yellow rope. He's back, you know, the guy, he paints ledges in games so we know where to stand. He's back for this game, which is always a plus. So there's quite a lot of Tomb Raider references I'm kind of making, but like I said, the comparison between the two games should not be, in my opinion, is a good thing. I think there's a very good control scheme for Horizon Zero Dawn. And also, continuing on from Aloy using her main weapon as a bow, the bow is upgradable, and there are also different types of bow that you can use, of which are all upgradable. Everything in your inventory, everything down from the items you use, the weapons you use, and the clothes you wear can all be upgraded to suit your own personal playstyle, which I think is a welcome touch. Also, speaking about upgrades, there are own personal things that you can upgrade, skill trees if you like, for Aloy herself, like longer jumps, slow-mo reflexes, more items picked up from dead enemies, stuff like that. So all these things, including the photo mode, which is every game. Here's a letter. Dear every developing company in the world who's making next-gen, current-gen things have pretty graphics, include a photo mode into your game and you'll get a lot of people that will like it, including myself. So the pretty graphics, the photo mode to go along with that, the sound to go along with that, the skill trees, the upgrades, the good story, the well-written characters, the jaw-dropping scenery, and awesome user interface. So far, so good. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a few things I'm not a massive fan of in this game. For example, the actual enemies are really good and they are very well designed, they're very well AI'd. However, I feel like sometimes you have to know your enemy, which is completely fair enough, but some enemies are so difficult, and even with upgraded bows and stuff, I still found fighting some enemies was more of a pain in the ass than anything else. So sometimes I find myself completely just dodging out the way of enemies and running for the hills. That might just be a personal preference. I'm cool with learning enemy strategies. I like JRPGs, for example, but sometimes enemies are just super difficult, which is a little bit of a turn off sometimes. And I've played this game for about 9 or 10 hours so far, so given I haven't completed the game by any great measure, it is between a 20 and 30 hour game, I'm told, which is also a good thing. However, on my first playthrough, I did find that I played for about 7 or so hours, and the last hour or so playing was a little bit grindy. I was a bit like, oh, I'm getting a bit like fed up of doing the same stuff now, but it wasn't the same stuff. I think it was just me, personal preference, because about an hour after coming off, I just wanted to step right back in and play the game all over again. So overall, Horizon Zero Dawn is one hell of a PS4 exclusive and a very exceptional video game indeed. Now, I probably pay about £35 for this game, maybe not full retail price, but that's personally down to me and not being a massive fan of open world games. But aside from that, everything in between, Horizon Zero Dawn is a really good video game at the end of the day, and I would suggest that if you have a PS4, you should definitely consider picking Horizon Zero Dawn up. Thanks for watching. Hey guys, IAMFUTUREIDIOT here, really quick before the end. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to leave a like, and if you don't want to miss anything like this in the future, be sure to press that subscribe button. Gorilla funny because there's metal dinosaurs and stuff, and Aloy sounds like alloy, and isn't that fucking hilarious? Metal made by combining two and more. It's very funny. Aloy sounds like, get out.